Good afternoon. A somber afternoon here in central Pennsylvania, across the state and across the country as we pay tribute to fallen U.S. Deputy Marshal Christopher D. Hill, who is going to be laid to rest later today. He is going to a service right now at the Giant Center. We have a procession that is leaving the Geigel Funeral Home on Lingelstown Road in Susquehanna Township. Christopher Hill, of course, the victim of a shootout that happened after a standoff at a home on the 1800 block of Mulberry Street in the early morning hours of last Thursday, while the Marshals Task Force was serving an arrest warrant on Shayla Pierce for making felony terroristic threats with a weapon. Christopher D. Hill, an 11-year veteran of the U.S. Marshal Service. The procession now appears to be beginning to get underway. You're looking live here at the Geigel Funeral Home. This is on Lingelstown Road in Susquehanna Township. And many first responders have turned out. We are going to take you live along the procession route, which will go down Lingelstown Road to Route 322, over to Interstate 81, and then up to Route 39 and to the Giant Center, where hundreds of people are expected to turn out to pay their last respects to U.S. Marshal Christopher D. Hill, again killed last Thursday serving a warrant on Mulberry Street on Shayla Pierce. A man named Kevin Sturgis, 31 years old, of Philadelphia, reportedly opened fire from the upstairs of the residence, killing Hill and injuring York City police officer Kyle Pitts. He was shot in the arm and released from the hospital yesterday, but does face more surgeries. Harrisburg police officer Jeff Cook was hit in his protective armored vest. He went to the hospital and was released. He has been on that task force for 6 years. So again, the U.S. Marshals Task Force serving a warrant a week ago yesterday, and we are looking live here as this procession begins. It will be a very somber procession. Many people have lined up along the route which I just mentioned. American flags hanging, people are waving, people are saluting and paying their respects to Christopher D. Hill. Hill was 45 years old, a devoted husband, a father of two. His first assignment was in Superior Court in Washington, D.C., transferred to Harrisburg back in 2009. He's an Army veteran who served in Afghanistan from 1993 to 96, was highly involved in the manhunt for Eric Freen, the state trooper killer who conducted that ambush on state troopers. He was a member of the Special Operations Group since September of 2010. That's comprised of less than 1% of the U.S. Marshals Agency. This was a law enforcement officer who was dedicated, a man who his colleagues say was dedicated to doing as much training as possible, but on top of that, taking all of his spare time to then help train other officers. A member of this special task force, making up of less than 1% of the agency. You can see here this procession right now coming out, and I understand the hearse carrying Christopher Hill's body is going to come into the screen, and I'll just bow out for a second as we watch this procession. As I said, this procession will go down Lingelstown Road to Route 322 and then over to Interstate 81. And people are lining up along the procession route, which will also, once it gets off of 81, be on Route 39 headed toward Hershey and toward the Giant Center. I want to check in right now with CBS 21's Michael Gorsinger. He's standing by at Route 39 and Allentown Boulevard, where people are getting ready as this procession is going to obviously close off that intersection and people will go through there. Mike, what can you tell us about the situation there?
Well, Rob, it's interesting to see anytime you have not only a police funeral, but a fire funeral, anyone that's really dedicated their life to public service, the people really do come out. In fact, coming up 81 and making your way down Lingelstown Road, people are lined up on the bridges, on the overpass, taking a look around. This is the scene here. As you mentioned, we're in actually the Giant parking lot here, right off of Lingelstown Road, and there's about 50 to 60 people here, many of them in a group called the Guardian Knights, who have decided to honor Chris Hill's life in being able to not only be here along the roadway, but eventually make their way down to the Giant Center to take part in the event that will take place later on this morning. Now, joining me live is Randy Pope. And Randy, you are a member of the Guardian Knights. You've been through this before.
Yes.
Kind of tell us a little bit about why you guys decided to come out here and honor this life.
Officer Hill put his life on the line for our community. He also was an Army veteran, put his life on the line for his country, and we're out here to respect that because when these guys go out every day, they don't know what's going to happen, and they're out there doing what they do.
Your organization does so much, not just law enforcement, but also our military, funerals, just kind of making sure that these men and women that give so much are honored in this type of situation. You said you've been through this before. Why do you guys do it?
We do a lot of charity work. We hold events to raise money, and we give back to the community. We give to the families that need it, and we just enjoy doing it. And a lot of us are in law enforcement. A lot of us are veterans. So we've been there, we've done that, and we're out here to respect them for what they do and the families, because it's not just the officer, it's the family also.
Let's get right to the Giant Center. That's where the ceremony is going to take place at 1 o'clock this afternoon. CBS 21's Erica Such is there. And Erica, you've been watching as the preparations have been underway for the arrival of this procession, this motorcade, which will bring Christopher D. Hill's body there for the ceremony.
Yeah, Rob, we've seen a lot of cars coming to the Hershey Center in the past 2 hours. A lot of police cars, a lot of people coming to pay their respects. We've seen crews from Northumberland counties. We've seen departments from Luzerne County, our local counties, York, Cumberland, Dauphin, even some from Lebanon County, all coming here to pay their respects. I'm going to step out of the way for a second so you can see here Swatara Fire Department and Hershey Fire Department raised an American flag earlier today. This is where the procession will come through on the way to the Giant Center. You know, we spoke with the Hershey Fire Chief last night, and he said even though their fire EMS will be here, they're all brothers in this together. They're all emergency responders, so they all support each other. They all want to be a part of this as a way to honor Christopher Hill. And we're actually going to turn the camera the other way and show you the Giant Center. Outside here on their big sign, they have a tribute to Christopher Hill. You can see the U.S. Marshal badge with that black line through it. You can also see his photo will pop up here in a second. And like we've said, we've seen so many different police departments coming out today, EMS crews coming through just to pay their respects here in Hershey. And we've seen these parking lots are just filling up. The one in front, I don't think they're using, but on the sides, these parking lots are completely full with officers from all around. So, Rob, we're going to send it back into you, and we'll be out here live again when the procession gets here to Hershey.
I'm just going to bow out here and let's watch as this procession goes by. All right, we want to check in now with CBS 21's Mike Gorsinger. He has been standing by there at Route 39 and Allentown Boulevard, and there has been a group there, a group of veterans, Mike, that have gathered along with some other people to pay their respects as the procession goes by, and some of them are actually going to join in.
Yeah, Rob, it's always interesting in these scenarios to see the people that come out. Many times, complete strangers deciding to set a part of their day aside, even take a day off from work to honor this law enforcement officer, in this case of obviously Deputy Marshal Chris Hill, who was killed in the line of duty. You can see right here a group, the Guardian Knights, about 50 of them in all, have lined this route along Route 39 here outside of the Giant as they hold flags and will pay homage as the processional makes its way past here and about another 3 or 4 miles down to the Giant Center. And obviously, on top of this group, which is impressive enough to see, you can look beyond the flags and see probably another group of about 25 people that are just standing, not only on this side, but also behind us as well. Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 150 people that are literally standing, waiting for this processional just to pay their final respects. I would imagine in most cases, these are people that, A, don't have any connection to law enforcement, and B, certainly don't have any connection to Deputy Marshal Chris Hill, but they feel the need to come out in this day and age to pay respect to a law enforcement officer who's lost his life in the line of duty. Now, one of these people we've been talking to, a bunch of the Guardian Knights members, is Maria Slatnik. We're going to talk to her. Maria, kind of tell me a little bit about why you guys decide to come out here in these type of scenarios and, pay your final respects.
Because we're the Guardian Knights. We're here to support the military and law enforcement, and Chris is a brother in law enforcement. He was also a brother in the military, and we have all the respect in the world for what he did. He served our country, and law enforcement, and we hope this is going to portray the message to people, to his family, how important he was and his family, and how important law enforcement it is in this country, and to look at it as a good thing that we're doing this to help everyone around to know that we're here to support our military and law enforcement.
When you look around, are you amazed by the amount of people that come out? That probably 99% of the people are complete strangers. They didn't know Deputy Marshal Chris Hill at all, but still you guys decide to set aside a part of your day, even take off a day from work in many cases to do this, to come out, to hold the flag, to pay the final respects.
No, I don't find surprising that at all, because the law enforcement family, motorcycle clubs, everyone is there to support each other. Me, through my accident, my brothers and sisters in the Guardians were there for me to help me. And you know what? I wouldn't be any other place than here today. Even if I had to be here in a wheelchair, I was going to be here to show my support for Chris and his family and law enforcement and the military.
It's obviously something that means a lot to you.
Yes.
It's something that is going through your mind. It brings you to tears. What's going through your mind when you have to stand out here and do this type of thing, whether it be law enforcement, military?
It goes through my mind that I don't like to see anybody go through this, the family. I was on a detail before with Chris, and when my husband came in, I didn't even know. And when he told me what happened, I immediately thought of all my coworkers and friends, which I could have been there, but I'm off for a while. So when I found out that it was someone, that I knew of, and my coworkers had worked with him, one supervisor at our work release is good friends with him, and you know what, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that he had to lose his life over something crazy, and I'm just so glad we're here to show support for him, for military, for his family, and hopefully it'll help people start to really think about what they're doing.
For people that might not understand the close-knit community that is military, that is law enforcement, tell us how close that community is and how much it means, even if you don't personally know, the person that you're honoring, what it means to be able to do this.
Well, I wasn't in the military, but I know how strong the military family is. They're brothers and sisters for life, no matter what they go through, and law enforcement people are the same way. We support each other no matter what we have to do. The Guardian Knights, like I said, we're seeing the different people out here that are in other clubs, military. You know what? I can't I think this is a great respect that we're doing for him. And it is a very close knit. We care about each other no matter whether we knew him or not. Like, it broke my heart to hear him. I only briefly knew him, but it breaks my heart to hear that he had to lose his life over something crazy, and I'm just glad we're here.
Maria, I think I can say for everyone that's watching, we're glad you're here too. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. So just give you an obviously, Rob, a little bit of an idea of kind of some of the sentiment, the feeling here. Again, we're right along Linglestown Road, expecting the processional here in the next few minutes. You can see the flags lined up here, the Guardian Knights, ready to not only honor as the processional goes by, but then join in and take their place at Giant Center for the memorial service. So it gives you a little bit of idea, a little bit of flavor of what's going on here.
CBS 21's Michael Gorsinger. Michael, thank you. A very poignant tribute there from a person who showed up to watch the procession. Skyview 21 here showing us the procession as it makes its way up Interstate 81. Let's just sit back and take a look at this.
As you see the first beginnings of the procession will make its way down Linglestown Road, we're going to step aside and let it play out. You're awesome. I thought it was low enough.
the emotion that comes to mind right there when you watch that procession go by. You see the number of vehicles there. I believe the unmarked vehicles that you see following the military type vehicle are probably members of the U.S. Marshals Service, again, a federal agency. They do not have any local law enforcement tags on the outside of their cars. But again, you can see the number of police officers involved in the procession itself. That is not to mention what we're finding and bringing to you live, the number of first responders and citizens who are at the Giant Center for the service, those who are lining the procession route, I should say, on its way into the Giant Center. We have our reporters fanned out across this area so we can bring you this procession live as it continues to pay tribute to a fallen U.S. Marshal Deputy Christopher D. Hill, a 45-year-old devoted father of two, an 11-year veteran of the U.S. Marshals Service, struck down in the line of duty early in the morning of the hours on January 18th in this raid, where they were serving an arrest warrant on a woman named Shayla Pierce for making terroristic threats with a weapon when a man named Kevin Sturgis apparently opened fire from an upper floor of the residence where they were trying to make that arrest, and that's where Deputy Marshal Hill was shot and killed. Back to Derry Township live here. These are pictures as this procession makes its way toward the Giant Center. Let's take a look at that. It has been an emotional processional that has gone from the Geigel Funeral Home down Ligglestown Road to 322 and up 81 and then to 39 and back over to the Giant Center where this ceremony will take place. CBS 21's Erica Such standing by outside the Giant Center. And Erica, some of our other reporters certainly moved when this procession went by.
Yeah, Rob, definitely an emotional moment as that car went by. You can see the procession now wrapping up as they make their way to the Giant Center where the memorial service is set to take place at 1 p.m. today. You can see down the row, that is where all those lights are shining. That is where we're told is called an honor wall, where all of those officers from, like we said, Luzerne County, Northumberland County, our local counties here, they're all standing outside to salute him one last time before the memorial service gets underway here at the Giant Center. We spoke with some people last night. They tell us people are coming from all over the country for this to pay their respects to Christopher Hill and his family. So definitely a very, very somber moment as his body moved through here on 39 to the Giant Center for his memorial service. We'll send it back into you, Rob.
All right, Erica, thank you. Again, a very somber afternoon. A 45-year-old Deputy U.S. Marshal Christopher D. Hill killed in the line of duty, devoted husband, a father of two, an 11-year veteran of the U.S. Marshals Service. We can rest assured that on this cold and crisp Pennsylvania winter day, Christopher D. Hill is now surrounded by the warmth of family, friends, fellow law enforcement, and just citizens who want to thank our first responders for everything that they do. I thank you for watching our coverage of this procession to Christopher Hill's ceremony, which is beginning at 1. We will not be carrying that due to deference for the family at their request. However, we will have a complete wrap-up tonight on CBS 21 News beginning at 5. Our condolences to the family. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all of law enforcement, and we thank them for their service. I'm Rob Hanrahan. That is our special report here at noon. I'll see you back here at 5.